Cool.
Go. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Okay, so welcome back to the Inspire Hire Blab show. I'm kind of secret squirrel today because you can't see me. And I actually put mascara on and everything, even though I'm about to jump on the plane for 11 hours. So I'm actually in San Francisco right now visiting my sister just off the back of attending Social Media Marketing World Conference. And I am bringing in the lovely Senka, am I going to say it right? Radnovich? Yeah. Radnovich. Darn it.
So close.
I was going from memory. Radnovich.
That's all right. Radnovich.
Right. She's in New Zealand. She's outside in New Zealand. And today we're going to be talking about adding adventure into your life and business. So yay, welcome Senka to your first Blab.
Yeah, I know. I'm like totally a Blab virgin. I was like, cherry officially popped, and who better to do it with than you, Nat?
And you can't even see me, but that's cool because this is what happens sometimes in business and life. You plan things and then you have to have a backup plan, and so that's fine. You guys can't see me. You know what I look like. It's more important that you can actually see and connect with Senka today, so that's really cool. And she's got the outdoor backdrop and everything. So for those people that are new to Blab, and especially for Senka as well, if you're on your computer, along the top you can see it has a little eyeball symbol, and that shows that 7 people at this moment are viewing it, and it shows them across the top, so you guys can actually follow each other. I do encourage networking at all times, so you can go and hover on somebody's face, and when you do that, it brings up the profile that they've written in Twitter. What it'll do is it'll just suck in their Twitter profile, and so you can hover along. We see that we've got Steph Johnstone here. We've got Renee Greenland. You still need to get your photo in there, Renee. We've got Karen Pelt, who also was, I think, at Social Media Marketing World. And you can just do along the top. We've also got Sharon Walt. I'm going to follow you, Sharon. I'm going to be your first follower. Done. So that's just a little bit of how to on the Blab thingy. And the comments will come up on the side. And we will later on, as usual in all of our shows, we normally talk for about 25 minutes, half an hour, something like that on the topic. And then we're going to open up a seat and see if anybody wants to come in and either ask a question or share their own personal knowledge around the topic of the day. So that's how we're rolling. So let's start things off. Senka, can you give us a little bit of backstory? Tell us what your business is, Adventure Girls. What is that all about? And how did you come to be the CEO of Adventure Girls?
Yeah, thanks. And thanks again so much for having me. Especially, I was really excited because I know that you've got a background in outdoor adventure as well. So I'm pretty stoked to be talking to you about this topic. So I'm Senka. I've got a business called Adventure Girls, and we basically do kick-ass adventures for women. So we get you out doing just the normal, usual stuff and get you out to go do things like shoot guns, four-wheel drive, surf, mountain bike, all the cool shit that guys usually get to go and do, but we as women get to go and go to together. So Adventure Girls officially started about 10 years ago, and I love telling this story, so grab yourself a little cup of tea, because for me it always reminds me that no matter where you are in your journey, or whether you think you're following the right path or not, is to stick with it. So Adventure Girls officially started 10 years ago off the back of when I was getting into sort of surfing and mountain biking, and I was going out and there weren't a lot of girls doing it, and I thought, gosh, it'd be pretty cool to go out and do this with a whole bunch of ladies. Had a whole lot of friends come round, girlfriends come round. We painted, my partner and I, our house at the time. We painted the inside, and I stood back, and it was one of those moments where you just kind of go, oh my gosh, why don't I start putting adventures together? Because we stood back and I went, see, girls can do anything, because we just painted this inside of this house. And I thought, how cool would that be to get ladies together to go and do that? And so that's kind of how Adventure Girls was originally born. And then we ran for about 3 years, part-time, like some other contract work and that sort of stuff. And then, as you do, life happens and shit comes along, and I lost everything that I had in the property market crash. I'd bought some properties to trade, and the next week I heard, don't buy property, the market's crashing, and I literally everything I had. So I had to start again from scratch. So I had to shut Adventure Girls down as part of that process of losing everything, and got into doing some other stuff over a period of time. Ended up running a team building company and loved it because it ticked a lot of boxes on what I like to do. so happy for a cup of coffee because, like I said, the story has a good ending to it. But like what usually happens when you're going through all the things, moving along in life and doing the stuff that you do, and you know that there's a calling maybe for something that's bigger than what you're already doing, and I'm sure some of you can probably relate in some way to this.
Cutting out for you guys,
and then you get those shoulder taps. You know, the universe comes along and goes,
outside.
Hey,
can you just comment and let me know? Yeah.
Are you doing what?
I mean, it was pretty good. The audio was pretty good, but it just felt a little bit coming and going, and then she just dropped out altogether. Okay. Yeah, so you guys don't worry. I've still got you. Even though you can't see me, I've still got you. Hey, who is going, by the way, to the Avid Girl Boss event on Wednesday night? Are any of you girls going to that? This is a lineup of speakers that Belinda has put together. Belinda's from Honest Food Company, and she's put together a lineup of speakers. Literally, we're talking each for about 10 minutes, so it's going to be quite cool. Micaiah Carr is speaking, and Tracy Manu is speaking, and Louise Thompson, and me. So anyway, hopefully some of you girls are going to that. If not, there's still about 20 tickets left. If you want to find out about it, I can let you know. Yeah. It's actually in Auckland. So, Karen, where are you? Are you actually in Arizona? Yeah, Steph, I thought you might know about it already. Yeah, I thought you might be keen. Oh, you're in Arizona. So, Karen, you know what, Karen, jump on. Let's jump in on the seat and talk to me about social media marketing world while we wait for Senka to get back on. In the meantime, this is interesting. If anyone's going to do a Blab, I did tell Senka to get ready to be back up on her phone and also to have your computer handy. But I'm just going to check Facebook message because that's the way we've been communicating. So I'll just let her know. And you, in the meantime, Karen, see if you can jump on and I'll add you in. Just one sec. Okay. Here I come. Back to the Blab. Okay, I'm back. Oh, you're definitely not made up. You don't need to be made up. We might not even be able to see you. Yeah, can you come in by audio? That is a good question. I know that on Zoom, there's a button to click so that your camera goes off. Gosh, does anybody else know the answer to that? I think the only thing you can do is put a piece of paper or something over top of your camera so it doesn't pick it up. No worries. You don't need to be made up. You also don't need to come on. I was just inviting you to come on. I would love to hear your thoughts actually about social media marketing world conference. Maybe just tell me in the typing if you don't want to come on, what was your favorite session that you attended or your favorite speaker? If you can't remember the topic, let me know. Okay, so Senka and I today decided to talk about adding adventure into your life and business. Because as you girls know, often running a business, she's coming back in. Here we go. Hold that thought. Hello.
Hi, I'm just going to try this then. Is that all right?
Fine, welcome back. So it's interesting. What often happens with Blab, I tell people if you can, it's ideally best to be at a computer or even plugged into the wall. Like I'm actually on wireless myself, but sometimes I was going to live stream this as well, and I thought, actually, that's going to be too risky. It might take up too much of the internet. But next time, I'll be prepared. So you're just on the side. I don't know why. You're on the side.
Okay. How's that?
Better. Okay, and it said, we got most of your story. It just, all of a sudden, we just lost you.
Yeah, I was chatting away. I was like, la-di-da. And then I was like, I can hear Natalie, and they're saying they can't hear me.
Okay, do you remember where you were?
It depends where I got cut, where I dropped out.
Something like, you guys can type in the box if you remember. Something like, everything's going along, and then sometimes in life, all of a sudden you kind of lose everything. I think you were at that point.
So yeah, I don't know if, I'll sort of do so I lost everything in the property market crash.
That's right.
But, yeah. And then, is that sort of where I got to?
Yes.
Sweet. So then I lost everything, and then, I got back into the business world doing some of the things that I loved. But you know how you get those shoulder taps that come along in life sometimes, those little inklings, little messages that are like, I know you're doing some good, but I think that there's something that's a bigger purpose for what you're wanting to create. And about 2 years after I lost everything, I started getting a few of those shoulder taps. And then I got a big mother sucker of a shoulder tap. The first one was I was out playing netball. I dislocated my knee and ended up pretty much, not able to do a lot of stuff. I really probably should have paid attention to that as my first wake-up call, that it's time to just start listening to something, stop doing what I'm currently doing and actually start listening to some other stuff. And then the second one was that I lost my mum really quickly to pneumonia just a few short months later. And it was just at a time when I was doing the stuff that I was doing, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, man, life is so short. Like, it can be taken away from you just like that. And I thought to myself, if I died today, would I be doing the things that I really loved? And I thought to myself, nah, there's definitely something more. So I quit the business I was in, went on a bit of a journey and went, I wonder if there's something out there for me. And then, of course, I was like, hey, I could restart Adventure Girls. And if any of you are in business, I'm sure that you can understand this on some level. You have all this bullshit in the background of what's going, whether you can start that again, what will everyone say? Can I actually do it? It didn't work the first time, all this sort of stuff. And I really had to park that and restart Adventure Girls. So 10 years on, I restarted Adventure Girls, and that was just over a year or so ago. And since restarting it, it has just taken off. So for me, there's so many massive takeaways from that. It's like, one is never give up on your dream. Two is if there's a calling, it will always keep coming up until you answer the calling. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, there's so many messages in that for me.
And do you think there's something in it about timing? Like, how it's 10 years, like that's a long time, right? So do you think you just weren't ready, or society wasn't ready, or whatever the first time?
There was definitely a need for it back then. It was so different, I think, given that social media wasn't as available. So like now it's just so easy to engage with your audience, get people to find out who you are. You can really spread your message so quickly through social media, and just all the cool stuff that you can use post-adventure to keep engaged with your audience. So I think that there's a component of that in it. And yeah, I think also a timing from myself, like, believing that it was possible. Could I do that? After losing everything, it just, you go through a period of just like, am I capable of doing this? There was a lot of self-belief wrapped around that, or lack of self-belief it was at that stage for me.
So in terms of taking off now, like, why do you think it is? I mean, it's obviously social media, but meaning, what is it that the women are getting? Like, what are they getting from the experience or the community?
Yeah,
that they're craving so much.
Yeah, so the biggest reason that I started it is because I just saw that there was this huge market of women that wanted to go out and do all these cool things, but they could, if they wanted to drag along their sister or their auntie or their niece's next door neighbor or something like that, they'd probably go reluctantly. But with creating Adventure Girls, we get to create this space where the women that are coming along are just like you, like they actually want to come out and do these cool adventures. So you get to meet other cool women just like you who actually want to get out and do some cool stuff in life. And the adventures are all sorts of things, not just about jumping off big tall buildings and all that sort of stuff. And there's just something to be said about a sisterhood of women that you can't compare to anything else. Through all the years of doing adventures, events, and all that sort of stuff, there's such a different dynamic when you put a group of women together, whether it's in an adventure space or a business space. And you may notice this yourself, Natalie, in business, is there's a real support system with women. If we go out and do adventures, there's something that you get when you get a whole group of women together. If someone's a bit nervous or they're a bit scared, the women will come together and they'll support each other. Whereas you throw a man into the mix, I don't know, it's just a whole different playing field. There's a lot more competition, whereas women, we're just all about encouraging each other, because I feel like we genuinely want to see everyone else succeed. And I feel that so much in business as well as what we do with our adventures and that sort of stuff. So when you come along to the adventures, that's what you get. You get this epic sisterhood of support of women who want to get out and go do cool stuff.
It's so funny because it's almost like you and I do really similar things, or at least people who are using a totally different platform, a different method. And, me, right, back in the day, outward bound instructor, student of Aoraki Polytech outdoor recreation. And so I totally get you, like, using the outdoors as a medium for personal development and growth. But I mean, a lot of it also, like you said, it's about that, connecting or networking in my language, but, connecting and also relationship building, right? Because imagine some of these girls, when you do something that involves a little bit of adrenaline or risk or adventure, it's just different from sitting down and having a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you get this, the whole thing is it's experiential learning. So you're growing and changing in that moment. So that is what it's, that's what you really get from it. So you can have a conversation about, what would it be like if you stood on a tall platform when you were really nervous? Oh, I think I would do this. But when you're actually standing on that tall platform, you're actually feeling what you're feeling, and then you step off it safely and that sort of stuff. And having other women there, a whole different experience. Your body just shifts in a way that you can't really kind of get just sometimes by having a conversation. So,
and in terms of standing on the platform, I mean, one of the things with entrepreneurs, and particularly women who are also mothers, is we have a lot of trouble being present, right? We have a lot of trouble being where we actually are and not always doing all the time and not always running through our to-do list in our head and all that stuff. When you're like on a mountain bike or a dirt bike or standing on a platform, knowing you have to jump out and grab the trapeze, it kind of helps you to just be present.
Yeah, totally. There's nowhere else to be except either in your head or in the present moment. And I think that's where that's like challenges in life, business, and all that sort of stuff is we can either be in our head going, oh shit, I might not have this because of X, Y, and Z, or just being in the moment and believing that you can actually go for what it is. Like we do with the gun shooting, we go shoot guns. There's one of the takeaways that one of the ladies was, she's like, exactly that. She's like, you can't be like, you have to be so present when you're about to shoot a rifle, because if you're kind of thinking all over the place and your hands are wobbling, you're not going to hit the target. But it's so much about still long breaths when you're shooting long distance targets. So it's a real sort of meditative kind of pausing moment. You just take this big breath in, and then as you relax, that's when you're actually shooting the gun. So yeah, can't be anywhere else except where you are in the moment.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about ways that people can add adventure. So, like a lot of people, I think, as they get older, they get caught up in, like when we're younger, we do a lot of new stuff and we just try cool stuff. We give it a go. And then as we get older, right, people are more tentative about doing new things because like I'm too busy or I might get injured or whatever. What are some tips that you've got for people to like, not get them off the couch, but get them away from the computer and get them adding more adventure?
Yeah, well, I guess like a big lot of it for me is like, how do you define adventure? Because adventure is a different word and vibe for everybody. So like for me, with the word adventure, I have a real exploration kind of component to it. So like you say, I remember when I was a kid and you just kind of go off and explore. And like, so for me, that would be an adventure, that it was like, you're truly in the moment. You're not anywhere else. You're kind of just like finding all these new things, no matter what's kind of happening. So like adventure really represents that for me. And like in life and business, we can so easily get caught in that rut of doing the same old thing, getting stuck in front of our computers, thinking we don't have a lot of time to go and do these other things. But adventure doesn't have to be about jumping off. Like I keep saying, it doesn't have to be about jumping off tall buildings and all of that sort of stuff. Like adventure is just really about stretching your comfort zone in a way that is a stretch for you. So if a stretch for you is just even going along to an adventure with a bunch of ladies, then that's awesome. But one of the things that I really love, one of the awesome tips, and I just read an article recently on this, is doctors have been prescribing this new thing called ecotherapy. And essentially what it is they're just saying, get outside for 5 minutes, because the results on the study showed that it shut down the same area in your brain that deals with, that brings on stress, but it also brings on stress, anxiety, and depression. And by getting out for just 5 minutes outdoors, it helps relieve that by about 60+% in people. So and I was just amazed when I wasn't amazed with it when I found it, because I just know how different I feel when I get outside for that 5 minutes a day. So one of my top tips is like, get outside for 5 minutes and every day. And that doesn't have to be like, you know, going for a run or getting in your car and driving to the bush or nature. It's just get outside. We're often so caught up in our offices and our spaces and these confined concrete walls, but we are really designed to be outside and moving and that sort of stuff. So just get outside for 5 minutes, whether it's sitting and having a cup of tea in the sunshine, just like feeling the sun on your face and just pausing for a while, whether it's doing yoga, doing stretches, just doing slow breathing exercises, whatever you feel comfortable with. So, but sitting outside for that 5 minutes will dramatically shift the actual way that your brain is processing stuff. So that's definitely one of my top tips.
That is so good. And it totally echoes what Lisa Black, one of course, one of the co-hosts of this show, talks about. I know that she was challenging me at one stage, to do 10 minutes a day. And she's like, it's not that long. But I think 5 minutes a day, I mean, that's a great challenge, right? In terms of a social media marketing strategy, that's a great challenge because it's so doable. But yet we need reminders. Like, we almost need to schedule it. And this is the kind of thing I do. In my calendar, I literally schedule, like, drink water. Like, I'll write that in my calendar. So I think I can now add, like, go outside.
Yeah. It was so funny because I tend to have a pretty good tan because I like to be outside. And I was out at a dinner with some girlfriends and they were like, you look so tan, Senka. What do you do? And I said, I go outside. And the look on their faces was just like, oh, you go outside? I was like, yeah, you know, like in the sunshine, and I go sit in it. So every day I'm in the sun for half an hour. I love it. Usually it's nude, which is even better.
Wow.
I love the feeling of the sun on my body. It's like tapping directly into vitamin D. And I know there's a whole lot of people that are probably like, you know, what about skin cancer? But, you know, vitamin D is such a vital part of, again, fighting things like anxiety and depression and that sort of stuff. And we're told, put sunscreen on, wear sunglasses, put a hat on, and we're blocking vitamin D coming through our eyes, which is such a big part. And it's like, if you can just sit outside without your sunglasses, all that vitamin D coming into your body is just like, for me, it's like plugging right into the source. I always come back going, all right, let's get into work. So
that is so funny. Actually, I know in a few minutes, I'm going to get people to write down for themselves, like 3 things that they can do and that they're willing to commit to, maybe two things to add adventure to their life. So I wonder if anyone's going to write down naked 5 minutes daily.
Just be careful where you live. If you live in an apartment, it may not be appropriate.
Exactly. Neighborly complaints.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, speaking of challenges, I've actually got a 30-day Adventure Girls challenge, and in there's like 90 challenges because I've got, basically, it's a free 30-day challenge. You can join up and I'll email you every day with a little video to say, here's 3 challenges you can choose from for today to actually take.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I was just like, the same thing. I was just like, wouldn't it be cool if every day you did something new that stretched you? And the beautiful thing about this challenge is that I've designed it that it's a mix of inside personal stuff as well as outside, like physical stretching stuff as well. And it's all kinds of things that you can just slip into your daily routine. Like, some of the challenges are like, I'm a real don't really wear makeup kind of girl. So like, one of the challenges for me, I was like, you know, wearing red lipstick is really stretching my comfort zone, like, because I just don't wear it. So I was like, cool, I'll put that in as a challenge. Like, for all you ladies that don't wear a lot of makeup, put some sexy red lipstick on and feel like all bourgeois and fabulous. So and then there's stuff like, if you've ever wanted to go stand up paddleboarding, like, you know, find someone who wants to go do it with you, or you can join us for that. Go and do that. So
I love it. It's a good range of things across the board.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so cool because I've one of the hashtags I started using, and again, this is something that Lisa came out of a discussion with Lisa, is up your brave, right? So I help you women entrepreneurs to up your brave, but it doesn't, for you, it means adventure. And for me, it means kind of like what Karen was mentioning before. For some people, it might be, and I filmed a video about this yesterday, I haven't posted it yet, but for some people, it might be doing that webinar that you've been talking about doing for a year, or it might be putting a date on the actual workshop that you've been talking about, but you haven't done yet. So, sometimes getting outside your comfort zone is just getting your face out there, or just getting your message out there in a bit of a different way than you're used to doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think there's so much comes from just setting whatever it is that thing is that's going to stretch your comfort zone, whether it's, you know, doing something different in your business that you've always wanted to do, because really it's that whole, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, because it's setting that challenge is the part that will pull you forward and bring up all the stuff that needs to be healed, worked on, cleared out in order to make way to align you to go for that goal, to go for whatever it is that you're setting. So yeah.
Now, Jenny from Uku Chic is asking about where can she find the challenge? I know it's such a cool challenge, right? Can you you can say it, but can you also type it in the chat box?
Yep, I'm just on my phone, so I'm not sure how to do it on my phone.
I'll type it, you say it.
Cool. So I kept it simple, so you can find it at adventuregirlschallenge.com.
Okay, adventuregirlschallenge.com. Put it in there. And then Fiona, thank you. Fiona from Newfoundlands has joined us as well. She said, totally agree. Makeup is not my friend either. Yeah, so I mean, for some of you girls, and I imagine Jenny might be the same, you know, wearing makeup is a bit out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it's worth a try, and just, you don't have to do it all the time, but one of the challenges.
It's just fun because you might discover something that and this is the whole thing is it's also opening up doors for things that you think that you don't know that you might actually really enjoy or love. So that's the whole part of all of this is this fun, playful way to explore these parts of you that you've either shut down through, you know, experiences, you know, as you go through life experiences happening and we lid stuff. And sometimes we can shut down these really fun, playful parts of us and think that we have to be a certain way. Like, you know, how would it be if I went to work and I wore a whole lot of bright colors? Holy shit, that might not work. But, you know, there might be this part of you that's just actually itching to do it. So I'm hoping that through this challenge that we also, you know, give ladies permission to actually kind of explore these really fun parts of themselves as well. So.
Exactly. Okay, so girls, so here's a little challenge for you right now. I want you to type in the chat box something that you have actually done that is, you know, that you might consider a little bit outside your comfort zone or a little bit adventurous. Let's just say in the past month. It might be a physical thing, like yesterday, right? I took my daughter and my sister and her 4 kids to Great America, which is this roller coaster theme park, and I went on 5 roller coasters.
I am so stoked because this is the funny thing is like I said to Natalie after she said I went on 5 roller coasters, like, holy shit, girl, I got some balls, because I was like, roller coasters freak me out. But stick me on a mountain bike and put me down a real steep, rocky bit of technical terrain, no problems, you know, like, so we've all got these spaces in our, as to what, you know, we feel comfortable doing and not doing. So
it's all subjective. I mean, I've got lots of experience on a mountain bike. Most of it is carrying the mountain bike. I went on a 13-hour training ride. I did the Southern Traverse. This is back in 2002. And one of the trainings that we went on was 13 hours, but I'm really wussy on the downhill and just, you know, can only go so far on the uphill. So I ended up carrying my bike most of the time.
Yeah. So like on that note, I actually did just post into the challenge the other day for people to celebrate their wins and to let us know what it is that they've recently done that was a real stretch for their comfort zone and that they did. Because I've just moved into an area a few months back, and I live just down from a surf break that I've been really wanting to get out to, but every time I've gone down there, there's been no one there, and it's quite sort of remote and stuff. So I've been really nervous about going out there. Anyway, the surf conditions all worked just the other day, and I went down there for my first surf, and I was standing at the edge of the water, and I was just like I was actually having to breathe and took myself into it. It's like, okay, you got this. Like, okay, all those people out there look like they know what they're doing. They're all sitting out the back. They look professional as. I'm like, here I am, like advanced beginner going, and it's like, you know, just like totally giving myself a whole lot of love and a whole lot of permission to not be perfect, to go out there and go and surf. So it's like, and so much of that is like how it is in business as well. We compare ourselves to this outside world and go, where do I measure up against all of that, instead of going, this is kind of all I am, you know, as awesome as I am. So I'm just going to rock where I'm at right now.
That's so interesting, because as you were talking about standing on the edge of the water, breathing in and you're thinking, oh, gosh, can I do it? And I was thinking, well, what is it specifically? And you mentioned it was, these people are doing so well. I'm not going to be perfect. And whereas I would be going, oh my God, I'm going to freeze. It's going to be so cold. I would just be thinking about my physical comfort. Right. So it's so interesting how the same pursuit for two different people, and they're both having a similar emotion, right? I'm nervous, I'm scared, but for one, it might be for totally different reasons than the other.
Exactly. So it's like, where in your business and where in your life are you standing on this metaphoric edge of the beach, looking out to this, ocean of what it is that you want to create, the things that you want to have different in your life, and those emotions that are coming up. I often talk to my clients and stuff like that about, is just like that fear that's coming up. Those emotions are such strong indicators that there's something that needs to be unraveled or unpacked in order to align you further and help you move forward to what it is that you want to go for. So it's like, the fear of, standing on the edge of that. It's like, for me, it's like, is the comparison thing, just comparing myself. And then it's like, when you're feeling those emotions, we can often just get caught in that emotion, and then that's what keeps us stuck in our comfort zone, instead of going, okay, so this is coming up and I feel it, but what's below what's actually below that layer of what we're feeling, that fear. And for me, it was comparison, like just going, I shouldn't be out there because these guys know how to surf. I'll get into the lineup, I'll probably catch a wave, and then it'll be a good one and I won't catch it, and then I've just wasted a wave, instead of just going, I love it when I'm in the water. It's so awesome, whether I'm getting smashed by a wave or whether I'm catching one, it doesn't matter. So so it's just going, when those emotions are coming up that stop you and going for what it is that you want to create, if it's in your business and you're wanting to put yourself out there and you're feeling fear, or whatever word you would use to describe what you're feeling, it's beginning to notice what's actually sitting below that stuff, and what's the sort of the layers that you want to unpack to get to what it is that you actually really genuinely need to free up, and kind of almost have a bit of a really honest conversation with yourself. So
yeah, it's so interesting. And the way that you, like you said, you unpack or debrief the scenario, it's like, what's below that? What's coming up? What's the word? What's the story that you're wrapping around it? And is there a pattern? Have you felt that before, the comparison thing? Because I imagine, quite often it'll be, if you're feeling, or comparison is the issue outside in the outdoors, I imagine, in business, comparison also pops up quite often.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting for you guys listening, whether you're here live with us or listening to the replay. Have a little think about, the last time you tried to do something new. Maybe let's use the outdoors as an example, or, in your everyday life outside of business. And what was the thing that came up, the block or the excuse or the whatever it might be? And is that something that is a pattern? Like, does that happen in business as well? Interesting.
Yeah, like when you notice, like the good thing about that, like to actually just sort of sit with it for a moment. I've got some quote somewhere, and this is just my version of what I remember it being, but it's like, whatever you want to know the answer to that you would ask a teacher, sit and the answer will come to you, because you already know the answer. It's just that we keep layering other stuff around it. And the great thing about having a coach or a mentor and working with people like Natalie and stuff like that is that they ask the questions that help peel back those layers. But if you sit with it and you genuinely just, I always find just like sitting outdoors is even better, and just taking a few deep breaths and sitting in the stillness and not trying to make it mean anything or be anything or try to take it anywhere, those answers will actually start to pop out and come through. So, and sometimes it's not an instant process, like sitting there for that 5 minutes. You might not get clarity on whatever it is. It's like, I've been moving through stuff in my business recently with launching a brand new platform, and it's been almost a week kind of process of just feeling like being in and out of like going, yeah, I totally got this. So holy shit, I don't have this. Like, who am I to be doing this? So, but the thing that I know is that, and this is like the whole thing with starting Adventure Girls and having it restart post losing everything, is that if you stick with it in whatever level, you will always end up in the place that you want to be. So It's just having the faith to follow through and know that if you're on this roller coaster emotion of, yeah, I got it, to, oh, no, I don't. It's just remember not to get off the roller coaster at the, oh, no, I don't, got it. And just remember that that roller coaster is always going to go up and down, and it's going to swirl, and you're going to feel all these different emotions and that sort of stuff. And that's normal. Like, it's so normal. Like, yeah.
Gosh, you know, it reminds me when I moved to New Zealand, I was 23 and I'd never done rock climbing before. Most Kiwis they seem to be born and then they go like rock climbing when they're like 3 or 5. Anyway, and so I remember being so frustrated, and I was just getting so like, oh, I just get myself in such a state, partly fear, but really fear of failure, right? So it wasn't so much heights, because obviously I do roller coasters, I can do heights. It was, and we know all about perceived risk versus real risk, and like the way the rock climbing was set up, like it was really safe the way I was doing it. But I just remember getting so frustrated and feeling like I should be better. Like I should be better than this. I'm flexible. I'm strong. Why is this so hard? And getting really frustrated. And I think it's so interesting because quite often in business, there's parallels there, right? When you're learning a new pursuit, you go through those stages of like euphoria and frustration. And same thing with business, right? You go through those cycles of going like, oh, this is really awesome and fun, and I've got freedom and flexibility. Wait a minute, I'm working way too hard. I'm going to bed way too late. This is like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm spending too much money, right?
Yeah.
I want to throw in the towel. And then, oh, wait, this is amazing. Like, I just got this really cool person. And then the cycle begins again.
I have no idea what you're talking about. No, none at all. Of course not. Yeah.
So let's talk about any other tips for how people can add adventure. And meanwhile, you guys that are listening, and if you're watching the replay, I actually would love you to really, I guess, commit to doing maybe one thing in life, like an outdoor adventure. It doesn't have to be full on adrenaline, but just something new that you're going to try in the next month. And then something in business, same thing, something new. How are you going to add adventure to your life? One question. How are you going to add adventure to your business? And then if you're bold enough, please comment if you're here with us. If you're listening to the replay, you can always come and comment on my wall, Go-To Girl Social Media Networking on Facebook. Or you can go to Adventure Girls. Is that what it's called, your Facebook page?
Yeah, you can find us at Adventure Girls on Facebook, or just adventuregirls.co.nz.
Or even do a photo of you doing something.
That's so much better.
And so hashtag.
And hashtag.
What's your hashtag?
NZ Adventure Girl.
Okay. That would be pretty cool. Doing something, whether it be you like a picture of you at your workshop, or a picture of you sitting doing your webinar, or a picture of you going rock climbing or stand-up paddleboarding or plunging into the water, whatever it might be. Very cool.
Yeah, there's so much. And I think I remember hearing you say one day, and I've spoken to a number of people, as the OTAD. So one thing a day. Like that's all it needs to be. I think we can overwhelm ourselves with, and that's overwhelm can be a strategy for not moving forward as well. Quite nicely, can be very tricky, complex human beings. Well, complex, which is good. It's different to complicated. We're definitely complex. So sometimes we can use strategies like overwhelm to keep us stuck in the places that we are, as opposed to moving forward. But so one thing a day just helps with that. Like the whole thing, like 5 minutes outside, and you can build it into your existing routine. Like when you're sitting down and have a cup of coffee, one would hope that if you're having some lunch, how would it be just to go and stand outside and eat your lunch, or sit outside and eat your lunch? So we don't need to overcomplicate these things and rearrange our entire lives. We can just build them in so beautifully and so smoothly.
I am totally going to take you up on the 5-minute challenge. Not the naked part, but just the regular fully clothed part.
There is no need to post a photo if you do it naked. Just saying.
In fact, please don't. No, but seriously, this is interesting. I feel like, right, we're coming into May. It's like turning over a new leaf. It's like a nice time to start a new ritual. So for some people, it might be like, okay, I'm going to write in my gratitude journal every day. And that's outside my comfort zone, but I know it's good for me. And for me, that is a bit of a stretch or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I'm going to take you up on the 5-minute fully clothed challenge outside. Because I tend to just start working and like not stop working until the kids get home from school or whatever. Yeah. So I think just taking 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there and actually going outside is
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You know, when you have your water breaks, like your drink water reminders,
Yeah.
drink your water outside.
Yeah. And also for me, being a doer and being an action person, it's going to be, it's not like go outside and do some push-ups. It's like go outside and I'm not even going to write. It's not even go outside and write a to-do list. No, it's like go outside and just be outside.
Yeah. The feel, like, even like right now we're lucky because, you know, we can sit and we can feel the sun on our face and things like that. But we went out yesterday, we went mountain biking and we decided to go for a swim afterwards. Just as we decided to go for a swim at the beach, the clouds came in and it pissed down with rain. And I was walking out to the salty water and I was just like, it was windy, it was cold, and I had the water on my face. But I was like, it's just so good to feel nature, like, right there. Like, I was just like, you know, it could be like, oh, it's wet. I mean, obviously we're going to go get in the ocean, we're going to get wet anyway, but it's so easy to go, oh, I'm getting wet, oh, this is gross, it's cold and all this sort of stuff. But the feeling of the water on my face was just so nice. It's just, it makes you feel so alive.
It does. And I think also another part of it is really important that we haven't touched on is role modeling. So about a week before I came to America, I had signed all the kids up to do the X race, which is this family adventure race. It goes all across New Zealand. And exactly the same scenario. Just before the first race was about to go, it started pissing down with rain, like freezing cold rain. We were all crouched down, huddled under umbrellas and jackets, water dripping down the back of your neck and all that business. But actually, there's something quite bonding and funny, especially retrospectively when you're warm, about really being bombarded by nature like that.
Yeah, because I mean, and it's the same thing. Like when we go out mountain biking, we go out surfing. It's like we do this. Like people ask me, you know, are we going to go if it rains? I'm like, well, you're not made of sugar, so you're not going to melt, and you'll feel really proud of yourself that you went out no matter the weather. And it's like, so, and life stuff. You know, life and business, things like that happen. You know, you're set to do one thing like today, like this call, and we've had these, you know, challenges before we got into a really good role. And it's like, you know, stuff happens. So do you just quit when stuff happens, or do you go, okay, how can I enjoy the moment for what it is right now, or how can I work around that sort of stuff? So
exactly. And I did take a picture of me sitting here and I put it on Snapchat, so we're all good.
Yay.
Very cool. Hey, we've actually got we got about 10 or so minutes left.
Cool.
So I'm going to open up the seat if anyone wants to come in and either ask a question to Senka and I about adding adventure to your life and business, or maybe even share a story about something that you have done or you're thinking of doing.
Yeah. If anyone wants to know somewhere to go and do something, anything around venture, then, you know, I can definitely point you in the right direction. So. And that you could probably too anyway.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, one of the things that I tend to do a lot is I use the I might get injured excuse, which you know, there's validity there. I've had 3 back injuries. I've had surgery on my back, and there's definitely validity there. But at the same time, I think people can fall into that, like, oh, I'm not going to try it because I might hurt myself, and then you end up being so. First of all, your body can get quite in that rigid protective zone where it's actually doing you more damage because you're not like loose and moving around. But also it can be quite a convenient excuse, or, you know, other people have different things. But have you seen people doing that? I mean, do you see people trying to say no to something that could be good for them, maybe out of fear? Maybe it's out of fear of failure and they're using a different excuse, or
I think, yeah. Well, and I think that kind of like goes back to what we were saying, like when you set yourself that goal of whatever you want to go for, that it's like so often these things will come up, whether it's overwhelm, fear, or overwhelm, fear, just these stories. What happens if I get injured? It's like, well, realistically, what are the chances? And yes, the chances are that you might fail or do that, but what's all that stuff that's actually below all of that? I guess when the ladies are coming to Adventure Girls, they've already kind of committed to it. So it's a little bit of a different story with that, because they're already like, I want to do this. So what I find on the actual adventures is just like helping to work with the ladies to actually feel comfortable in whatever it is that we're going to do, because like I said, there's all those stories that are going on, that a lot of things like, you know, especially if we're going like, say, like something like surfing or something like that, you know, we're all got to get into these nice, hot, sexy wetsuits, and it's like, you know, just making ladies feel comfortable in that space to be able to kind of go for it and not hold back, and try and stand on that surfboard instead of looking over at their friend who seems to be doing it really well and they just don't seem to nail it, and then they get stuck in the story of, well, see, you know, so and so's always better than me at that, or whatever it is. So
anyone going to come in and join us? I think, I mean, some people that are listening would know I've got this kind of side goal for my life and my business, which is to save 1 million marriages. And I have to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine women going out and, well, first of all, from my input, women being successful and getting more love and money and flow and fun from their business flows on through to the marriage and the family. That's what I do. And also the parenting stuff that I do. But for you, I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but women that come back from spending a weekend with you doing adventures, do they just feel more positive, more confident, more loving? I imagine the husbands would thank you for it.
I think they come back, like the general feedback that I get is that they just come back feeling more empowered about themselves. And if you're feeling more inspired and empowered and excited and stoked for yourself, then that has to like ripple out into your world. So if you've got a partner, that has to ripple out to them. If you're with someone who feels, you know, happy in who they are and what they're doing and they're connected to it, you can't help but want to be with that person and that sort of stuff. So definitely it has a huge ripple effect, because we get, and also for all the mums that are out there as well. So because I find that I get quite a few, I get a mix, but it's generally women that have either come out of a relationship and they're like, I'm going to take on the world. And that's awesome, because they're there to prove someone, and people that have been in long-term relationships for a long time, and their relationship's awesome, but they're just wanting to find some new stuff and some new friends for themselves because they feel like change is afoot. And it's a really great space to kind of meet some new ladies. And mums that are just wanting to reconnect in with who they are as well. So they may have either been, you know, into doing adventures and trekked all the stuff, and then they became a mum. And it's like, you know, they kind of, them being a mum got put in front of being who they are. So they get this chance to come along and just reconnect into that real fun, energetic, like most of the time we're in fits of laughter on our adventures and that sort of stuff. So it's getting yourself out into that space, which is always about just, you know, around girlfriends, like hanging out with new girlfriends. Like that's pretty much what it is. So
all right, so tell us what have you got on the menu? What's coming up in May, June, July?
Okay, so adventure-wise, we're all done with all our water sports now. So we're doing rock climbing. So we've got rock climbing, which is indoors. We've got gun shooting. So we spend an entire day shooting guns, which is awesome because we don't just do handguns, we do rifles and shotguns. Usually if you go anywhere, you can only do one of them. So we spend the entire day doing all the different kinds of guns. We've got four-wheel driving. We've got mountain biking. Later in the year, we're off to Bali to go surf, so you can escape winter and actually come and spend some sunshine. So you can find out all of those. The great thing about what we do is, one is you don't need to organise your best friend to come along unless you want them to and they're into it. You don't need to try and drag your neighbour's nephew's, niece's girlfriend along. You can just come along and have a whole lot of fun, because the ladies that come along are just like you. They want to give it a try. They feel nervous and excited about doing it, but it's something that they've always wanted to do. So there's just a natural bond that already happens. I organise everything. You just rock up. And the great thing about Adventure Girls events is that we always have lunch and a glass of bubbles at the end to celebrate. Because why do something awesome and not be able to celebrate it with a bunch of new girlfriends? So bubbles at the end, always celebrate, and a nice lunch as well. So
that sounds awesome. Are they all on the weekend?
Yes, they are all in the weekend. So that's just because it's more available for ladies to come through in the weekends. Next year, we'll be looking at doing some week trips, but there'll be trips like getting away to do the some mountain biking things like Timber Trail, Old Ghost Road. We'll also be doing some local surf getaways, like actually getting away to Raglan, Ahipara, some really great surf spots and that sort of stuff. So they will be coming up, but that'll be next year, just because the calendar's already been sorted out for this year.
Okay, so we got people listening from all over, watching the replay from all over New Zealand and some internationals. So is it an Auckland thing?
So currently, yes, Auckland is mostly where we do our adventures. Where, like I said, we're expanding out to do some international trips like Bali and that sort of stuff. But what's in the pipeline for Adventure Girls from a new area is, from talking to all these ladies, their biggest thing is like, we just want to meet other ladies who do cool stuff, and so we can go out and have fun. And so it got me thinking. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a place that you could go where you could chuck your profile in, tell everyone what you're into. I'm into mountain biking, I'm an expert, I'm into surfing, I'm a beginner, I really want to try snowboarding. And then if you could meet up with other ladies that were into those sort of stuff, whether it's Auckland or international. And I was like, that'd be so rad. So that's what I'm creating right now, and it should be launched next month. It's called YourUltimateSisterhood.com. And you can join into that membership into there, and it gives you the chance to meet adventure women all over the world. So basically, it's going to be the easiest way to meet your new adventure bestie and start getting out and having cool adventures with other ladies in your area. So if you're already into adventures and you just want to meet new ladies to go and do cool stuff with, and ditch the boyfriends, ditch the partners for the weekend, and go out and have some real good girl time, that'll be a great place where you can do that.
That sounds awesome. That sounds really cool. Your Ultimate Sisterhood. And can they find a link? And same thing, the link to the challenge. Can you say the link to the challenge again?
Yep. So the challenge is adventuregirlschallenge.com. And the Your Ultimate Sisterhood, which is launching, and you can check your details in there for now, so we can let you know about the launch special that we'll be doing with that, is YourUltimateSisterhood.com.
Awesome. Let's check my typing. I think that looks pretty good.
Look at me. I'm like, YourUltimateSisterhood.com. Yeah. So,
yes.
And of course, if you want to join us on adventures, it's adventuregirls.co.nz.
Yay. So cool. Now I've got a couple of questions just to wrap things up.
Cool.
Okay. What is your favorite form of adventure?
Mountain biking or surfing.
What is one thing we would never, you can't say roller coasters. What is one thing we would never catch you doing?
Bungee jumping.
Okay. Yeah, I've done that too. Okay. And what is one thing on your bucket list?
Is to, can it be kind of like a group of things?
Sure.
It's it's to mountain bike Canada and to surf Hawaii.
Cool.
They're just iconic places to do those two things. Surfing and mountain biking is my number one. I love it. I'm doing it every weekend. Surfing, I've just got back into doing after having a 4-year break on it, and I just love it so much to bits. So yeah, those are on my bucket list, those two things.
Canada.
Canada. I want to go to.
I actually reconnected with a bunch of Canadians. Well, not reconnected. I didn't know them before, but I connected with a bunch of Canadians at Social Media Marketing World, which was so cool. This is a really interesting networking thing. We were standing there in the Marriott bar. This is the night before registration, so the event hasn't even happened. It's like packed with people, and this one guy gets out his phone. He's got this image of a Canadian flag on his phone, and he just stands there in the crowd and puts his arm above his head, holding his phone. And actually, like 3 or 4 people flocked to him. We are like, I looked up, I saw him, I just like whooshed over. And then all of a sudden there was this gaggle of like 5 of us going, where are you from? Where are you from? In our Canadian accents. It was great. So that's awesome. A good little networking tip. If you're in a crowd of international people, that's pretty cool. It was a very, very cool moment.
Nice. I love it with those little, I love people who think of cool stuff like that. You're like, yeah, that's rad.
Hey, Fiona is mentioning, I don't know if you can see her comment, when you're keen to do Hawaii, let me know. I have an amazing place for you to stay.
Yeah, I saw that there. I couldn't type. Well, I was trying to type and do it. You can see me.
Yeah. And
but
thank you, Karen, for coming. And thank you, Fiona, for coming. Actually, hey, girls. So Senka's in the mastermind group. She's just joined. And Fiona's in it. And a bunch of the girls that have come today are in it, Sharon as well. So really, really cool way for you guys to get to know who's in the group. So if anyone's listening to the replay and you haven't checked it out, check out gotogirl.co.nz/MM, which stands for Mastermind Group. This is the online community of, I say, focused and fabulous women entrepreneurs, which is really, really cool. We're actually doing our Q&A. We do a monthly Q&A on Zoom, and we do a monthly guest expert, as well as fortnightly little challenges and checklists to keep you accountable. And it's just, I mean, I would say to people are in there 50% for my knowledge and the connections I can give you, but also 50% really for each other, like for the cool ladies like Senka. So thanks, Senka, for coming in today. Very cool to have you.
Pleasure. I've been so looking forward to catching up with you.
Sorry we couldn't see me face to face, but I'm glad that your outdoor connection worked well. I'm glad you've got your t-shirt on.
Clothes on. So I'm doing I've just spent whatever amount of time I'm sitting outside. I've just done my interview. So I'm well and truly dosed up, but it is sunny. So as soon as we finish this, I might go get my clothes off and go sit in the sun for a bit.
We can only imagine. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. So the Inspire Hire Blab show meets every week here. So it's Tuesday at 10:30 New Zealand time. I do believe it's Monday depending on where you live in America, it's Monday at 3:30 for where I am right now. I think it's Pacific time. So we'll catch you guys next week. We'll see you back here. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Senka.
Bye.
See ya.